Welcome to the Action Movie Digest from Budomate. In the second episode, we will talk about action movies released in January this year which you were waiting for and some you probably never heard of. From the gunslinger Nicolas Cage to a brave pilot Gerard Butler, from the pissed-off Santa Claus to the most popular TV show The Last of Us. Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a wild ride. Nicolas Cage starts 2023 with a new Western film named The Old Way. Directed by Brett Donohue, The Old Way tells a story about an old gunslinger who must face the consequences of his past when the son of a man he murdered years ago arrives to take his revenge. Released on January 13th, this movie is available to watch on Amazon Prime. The plain film is produced by Lorenzo di Bonaventura and 22 other producers. Lorenzo di Bonaventura is a big name in the film industry and known by such movies as Snake Eyes, Bumblebee, Maze Runner, and Transformers. The film starring Gerard Butler, Mike Colder, and Tony Goldwyn and tells a story of a pilot Brody Torrance who saves his passengers from a lightning strike by making a risky landing on a war-torn island only to find that surviving the landing was just the beginning. When most of the passengers are taken hostage by dangerous rebels, the only person Torrance can count on for help is Louis Gaspar, an accused murderer who was being transported by the FBI. Sakra is the new wuxia film where Donnie Yen serves as the director, producer, and lead cast. It is adapted from the wuxia novel Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils written by Jin Yang. The story centers on the character Qiao Feng, the leader of the Beggars Gang in the Song Dynasty, and is best known for his signature and powerful martial art moves. On his journey, he must find his biological parents in order to prove his innocence, but along the way, meaningless disputes force him to seemingly fight the whole world alone. Gunfight at Rio Bravo is the second Western film released this year. Starring Alexander Nevsky, Olivier Gruner, and Matthias Hughes, and directed by Joe Cornette. In 1873, the small East Texas town of Blind Chapel is attacked by a malevolent, bloodthirsty outlaw gang known as the Hellhounds. Only a war veteran together with a territory marshal and sheriff stand up to the invasion by the violent killers. Directed by Shane Stanley and starring Danielle C. Ryan, Reggie Austin, and Brent Bailey, the Night Train film tells a story about a single mom who struggles to make ends and one day meets as a Hollywood teamster who evades capture a ruthless FBI agent while running black market medical supplies in her legendary souped-up pickup truck. Project Legion is the new horror action movie starring Brand Roderick, Donald Cerrone, and Kelly Lynn Ryda. A young man trapped in his apartment with a swarm of creatures outside his door must find a way to survive the night and escape from apartment 213. The new Korean sci-fi movie Uni is set in the 22nd century and distributed by Netflix. Climate change has caused the planet to become uninhabitable, and humans live within a man-made shelter. A war takes place within the shelter. Uni is the elite leader of the Allied forces. She becomes the subject of a brain cloning experiment. The cloning experiment is a potential key to winning the war. Transfusion is the new Australian movie starring Sam Worthington, Phoebe Tonkin, and Matt Nibble. The film tells a story about a former Special Forces operative thrust into the criminal underworld to keep his only son from being taken from him. The Wandering Earth 2 is a prequel to 2019's major commercial success starring Andy Lau and Wu Jing. The first sci-fi action movie grossed $700 million with a budget of $50 million. Humans built huge engines on the surface of the Earth to find a new home, but the road to the universe is perilous. In order to save Earth, young people once again have to step forward to start a race against time for life and death. The Violent Night is the new flick from the 8711 studio that brought us John Wick, Atomic Blonde, and Bullet Train. David Leitch served as a producer, Jonathan Eusebio and Dan Skeeney worked on the stunts, while Charlie Yoon polished the fight choreography. Directed by Tommy Vercola, who is known for such films as Dead Snow and Hansel and Gretel. Witch Hunters starring Jeremy Renner, Jem Arterton, and Famke Janssen. The Violent Night stars David Habba playing Santa Claus who came for just another cookie and a glass of milk. When a team of mercenaries breaks into a wealthy family compound on Christmas Eve, taking everyone inside hostage, the team isn't prepared for a surprise combatant. Santa Claus is on the grounds, and he's about to show why this Nick is no saint. The movie is available on Amazon Prime Video since January 20th. Dead Zone is the new action movie starring Michael J. White, Chad Michael Collins, and Jeff Fatty. An elite team of soldiers who, to stop the collapse of humanity, descend on a radiation-poisoned town and perform the ultimate stealth mission using high-tech armor and weapons. The Last Manhunt is written by Jason Momoa, who also played a small role in it. Based on true events in the early 1900s Wild West, Willie Boy falls in love with Carlota from the Chemehuevi tribe despite being forbidden to be together. A fatal incident forces the young couple to flee the only place they know as home. The movie is available on Amazon Prime Video. Condor's Nest is the new war movie starring Michael Ironside, Arnold Vosloo, Jorge Garcia, and Jackson Rathbone. A decade after the fall of Nazi Germany, an American aviator travels across South America in search of war criminals and encounters more than he bargained for. Created by Taylor Sheridan and starring Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren, and Brandon Sklenar, 1923 is the next installment of the Yellowstone origin story, introduces a new generation of the Dutton family, and explores the early 20th century when pandemics, historic drought, the end of Prohibition, and the Great Depression all plague the Mountain West and the Duttons who call it home. Trent is the new ABC show based on Karen Slaughter's series of novels. The series revolves around Special Agent Trent of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, who was abandoned at birth and endured a harsh coming of age in Atlanta's overwhelmed foster care system. But now, determined to use his unique point of view to make sure no one is abandoned like he was, Trent has the highest clearance rate in the GBI. Netflix Vikings Valhalla returns for a second season debuting January 12th. It is bigger and bolder in every sense of the word. The story picks up right where the series' first season left off, in the aftermath of the fall of Kattegat. Fort Beard's troops have arrived in the town and taken Olaf prisoner. Freydis and Harald are in hiding. Leif is still struggling emotionally and spiritually with Leif's death and the violence it spawned in him, and Queen Emma rules in England, while Canute is off fighting the winds, with the seemingly ever-scheming Godwin as her advisor. Amazon's Hunters returns for the second season with Al Pacino and Logan Lerman. 2 years after a failed mission, Nazi hunters on an international mission to find and kill Adolf Hitler, who is supposedly been hiding out somewhere in South America and secretly plotting a fourth riot with his wife Eva Braun, aka the Colonel. The Last of Us is the most anticipated TV show of 2023. It is based on a 2013 action-adventure game published by Sony Computer Entertainment. 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed, Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey as they both must traverse the US and depend on each other for survival. Mayor of Kingstown is returning for Season 2. The story follows former Avenger and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner in the lead role of Mike McCliskey, the titular mayor of a town where the local prison is the primary business. This season, Sheridan and Dillon intend to dive deeper into systemic issues like racism and inequality that play into the prison industrial complex. It was the second episode of the Action Movie Digest from Budomate. Let us know in the comments which films you have already seen and which one you never heard of. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and see you at the next one. And don't forget to turn your brain off and enjoy the action.
Thank you, Spider-Man!